Oh boy, did it ever have repercussions. Hello, friends, patriots. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Speed G News. I am one of your hosts, Robert Imbriali, and guess what? We're going to have two other co-hosts with us today. We got a really packed show, really big stuff happening. Everyone's looking forward to hearing from Lewis about what happened in Maricopa County and Board of Supervisors meeting. Fireworks is probably the best way to put it. Lewis is going to join us from Arizona in about 30 minutes from now. We're going to get the show kicked off, and I don't know about you guys. I've been looking at the news like from sort of the macro rather than looking at each individual story, kind of looking always at the trend. Right? What's the trend? Where are we going? What's happening? Which way are we headed? And the disclosures that are coming out, the pushing back that is finally happening, is in every direction now. Okay, we didn't win. White hats are not fully in control. We get that. We get that. But it's got to start somewhere, right? That snowball starts off small, and it rolls, and it's hard to roll it. It's got to push it, and finally the snow starts to stick, and as it starts to pick up momentum, it gets bigger and bigger. We're at that initial stage right now. The snowball's about the size of a baseball. We're hoping to get it to the size of a basketball pretty soon, and we're starting to see more and more every day. Literally, I was on Twitter last night, X, not Twitter, X last night for, 15 minutes. And it's like, we need to talk about this story. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about it. It's like one after another. Boom, 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 boom. They were coming at me. And I thought, well, this is kind of amazing. We've got all this great stuff happening. Definitely, it's a good sign. It's a sign that we are moving in the right direction and we are making progress. Not winning every battle. Clearly, that's the way war is. It's battle after battle after battle. You win some, you lose some. We've lost a few. We're winning some. Maybe small right now. Maybe they seem insignificant. But they're not, because they're setting precedent. And what we're doing is we're starting to build that critical momentum. So here we are, my friends. Here we are. Hey, before we get rolling today, I want to let you know about two things. Number one, rememberyouroath.com. Go visit that website. If you're not signed up, please do. We are starting to make an impact there as well. Real important to do. And also, if you haven't gone over to ScrewBigGov, go over to screwbiggov.com, Lewis's website. You'll find all the goodies and everything that he's involved with there, including that bottom right icon there, which is a social media icon. We find all the sites that he's on, including Telegram, where you'll be able to spend some time and looking at some of the things he's doing. He does read and respond to a lot of the Telegram messages, which is really cool. So hard to find him sometimes on Telegram, but if you go to that link, it'll take you directly to the correct page, because there's some knockoffs, and Telegram doesn't always give you all the results. So a lot of people were asking about this fellow that went through a surgery yesterday, and what's going on? What's going on? I saw people writing prayers in the chat room and everything. And how is he? How is he? Where's the update? Where is this guy? What's going on with him? Well, let me see. The magic of television. Oh my God, here he is. Hey, Bruce. You're muted, Bruce.
Sorry about that. Yes, the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. I am home now. I ended up having to battle my way out of there. It's crazy. This is quite an enlightening experience, kind of cemented some things of what we already think and know about the hospital. The people are great. The procedures suck. So yeah, I made it out. I'm alive, so that's good to go. I'm sore as hell right here, but I feel fantastic otherwise.
You look great. You look like 10 years younger. I don't know. Might be the Neumi spray. It may be,
Never go too far without that stuff, for sure.
Yeah, the doctors ask you, you told me your age, Bruce, but you don't look that age. What are you doing, right? They're going to ask those kind of questions.
No, the ones that have never seen me in person, I think I shared the story. My medical file is like crazy thick. So this guy never saw me before. Telemed thing a couple of weeks ago before this procedure, the nurse practitioner, he comes on, sees me, he goes, looks at the thing, he's like, you don't look like your file says, according to my file, I got 1 foot in the grave. I said, yeah, I'm actually aging in reverse.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect. First story of the day. I woke up this morning and found out that the guy who got his ass kicked, Kevin McCarthy, he's retiring to spend more time with his family. Can you believe it? He's going to spend more time with his family, this man.
His poor family.
Oh, yeah, his poor family is right. So this is interesting. This is an interesting twist in the fabric, if you will. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has announced he's retiring from Congress at the end of the year, which is what? 3 weeks away? Pretty close. In his words, I've decided to depart the House at the end of the year to serve America in new ways. Yes, you will serve America by leaving the House. Absolutely. I agree. I know my work is only getting started. No, your work is done. He will continue to recruit. I will continue to recruit our country's best and brightest to run for elected office. The Republican Party is expanding every day, and I'm committed to lending my experience to support the next generation of leaders. Kevin McCarthy was ousted as House Speaker in October in a 216 to 210 vote after Matt Gaetz filed a motion to vacate the chair. Now, what are your initial thoughts there, Bruce?
Well, I mean, yeah, because he knows. I mean, these super deep insider, deep state MFers, even though they're puppets themselves, they can see the writing on the wall. They know, nothing can stop what is coming, and he's trying to duck and hide from responsibility for certain stuff. That seems to be their modus operandi. They tuck tail and run, and then they never really get held accountable. That's been my biggest beef through this entire situation, regardless of party, is just the people that we know. I know my own name that they're criminals and they are treasonous. Why isn't one person held accountable so far to this point? I know it's coming. We're going to see more public stuff, but I mean, that's the frustrating part. But yeah, I feel sorry for his family because he's never really lived in. I mean, ever since he's been elected, he's had an apartment there in D.C. that he was sharing with that pollster guy, right? What's his name? He was sharing rooms with different people.
Yeah.
He shared apartment. So,
So we didn't have a meeting before this session. You popped in. I didn't even know you were going to be here. 5 minutes, 10 minutes before we go on air, Bruce is popping into the back room. I left the door open, and that's what happens. So here's what's interesting. He picked up on exactly the theme of today's show, which is, why aren't they being held accountable? When are we going to see the accountability coming? It's got to come at some point, right? And he picked up on the fact that they're leaving now. The rats are scurrying because someone came in and flipped the lights on. What's going on? All this disclosure. There's
a huge list, and it's more Democrats than Republicans, but there's a fair amount of Republicans, too, that are calling it quits. They're saying no mas. They've already said that. And those are the ones, the dangerous ones, really, because they can, throw ideas and shit in there, and they know that there's no way they're going to be held accountable when it comes, time for the people. And Master Bag was Frank Lutz. Frank Luntz,
yes.
Sharing dwellings. I don't know if they were sharing dwellings, but Frank. And then there was even rumors that he was shacking up with MTG.
Well, that seemed apparent because she was supporting him when he was running for Speaker of the House, and she was the only one that was standing by him at the risk of her own political capital.
Yeah, and now she's going through divorce.
Well, she was getting divorced before that, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to kind of line up. Yeah. And then after she's the whole McCarthy thing, she was like number one person on
Memorial Day, with the general election likely on May 20th, 2024. First, California will conduct a nonpartisan, blanket primary in which the two top vote getters, regardless of party, advance to the general election. You know what they're going to do there, right? Because we have the Dominion machines and the mail-in voting permanently here. Well, they got that one in the bag.
I mean, at least they give an appearance that there's some type of impartiality.
Right.
But up in New York, because Santos got booted out, and there was some statements made by Hochul that she was made it sound on Twitter or X or whatever she posted something like she was going to be the one to be able to pick who gets to fill the seat. She was going to be queen for a millisecond till everybody came on her and said, no, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works, dear. Yeah, exactly.
But in New York, they don't have a primary. The heads of the parties, the Democratic Party and the GOP Party, choose. They pick who's going to be running against each other. So there is no primary situation in New York, whereas it's different in California. Do you think there should be some type of uniform set of rules, over the states? Would that be too federalism?
I don't think that's too much to ask, honestly. I think that would make a lot of sense.
So at least everybody has, knows what the rules are. I mean, you got different rules over here, so you don't know what the hell's going on from state to state. I mean, I understand the importance of the states' rights, but do you think that we could have something that's a little bit more easy to explain, or the rules are the same for everybody, so to speak.
Well, the rules are rigged, right?
Oh, we know that. That goes
That
beyond.
that goes without saying. Okay. So the winner of the general election would be seated within days of victory. The small window ties the hands of Governor Newsom, yeah, right, who would prefer to schedule the election later to keep the reliably Republican seat, which Cook Political Report ranks at Republican plus 14, wants to keep the seat as vacant as long as possible. Why? Because we have, how many seats do we have a majority in Congress? We have 5. Well, now we got Santos gone. We've got 4. We've got McCarthy gone. We've gone to 3. Ooh, that's getting pretty close now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Counting the numbers, paying attention.
And those 3 really don't have, there is no Republican Democrat thing. That's they have that caveat back here.
Oh well, true. All right. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about what in the heck is going on in New Zealand. And you might say, New Zealand, who cares? It's way over there, small little island. Nobody cares, right? It's important because it's setting, talked about it earlier, it's setting precedent, right? So what's the precedent being set there? Well, here's a whistleblower, data analyst, not a political hack or anything like that. Data analyst comes out. He's doing the data. He's looking at the data. He did not share any data that he shouldn't have shared. He didn't go out there and tell people's names, their addresses, anything like that side.
Well, what access to what database is she, trying to delete? This the database that this guy's already exposed, or is this some other database or some secret communications that she'd had knowing about with the Pfizer and all these secret contracts?
My guess is that what access would she have at this point if she's resigned? Unless she has players, deep state players in there, and she's ordering them to delete that database, get rid of it, make it go away, because it's really looking bad for her.
The internet is forever.
I know.
That Wayback Machine, that's what a lot of these politicians don't seem to remember or know very well. Stuff that they said years ago, it's recorded somewhere and it's always there. If you delete it, somebody's got it.
Hey, my websites are there from 1995. You know what I mean?
You still got MySpace? Or you got that AOL email address, right?
No, I actually had, Netcom. Netcom.com back then, and I actually had a regular website. It was quite the process to register a domain in those days. You had to fill out forms and send in money, and it took months and months and months to get the domain registered, and yeah, it's crazy. But I digress. So Adern is challenged right now.
Well, yeah, there has to be. Can she be compelled? Is there people on the good side, or willing to follow some type of semblance of law and order to compel her to give some answers, rather than doing some nefarious stuff and deleting stuff. I mean, she's just the tip of the iceberg. There's this. I mean, all of them really are guilty of the same thing. All heads of state. I mean, if she's going to be the first shoe to drop in the public sense, I don't know.
I'm looking at that from that perspective. I'm saying, if we are able to do something here, if we were able to get her, if you know what I mean, now you've got precedent to go after the others. You got to get the first one, right? It's almost like the 2020 election. We got to win one court case. We haven't won the one court case yet. No. Coming, I think in 2024, in March, especially when that case comes to trial, and Trump's able to put out all that information, about the election, I think it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, that's why I got one of the reasons I got so excited about the indictments and what the charges were, is his defense is proof of the steal.
Right.
I mean, if they're not going to allow him his defense, then that just tells the story. But his defense is proof of the steal, and we know he has the proof.
Well, this will be good because if we get one, then the dominoes can start to fall, because they can't fall until we get that first one. We've got to have that first win, and New Zealand may be that domino to fall, which is why I'm paying attention to this story. And there's a lot of stuff coming out about it. I don't know that she's going to be able to delete that database. That's kind of interesting. How is she going to be able to do that unless she's still connected with people who run that information and can tell them, hey, get rid of that database? But if it's state run, I would find that a little hard to do.
Yep.
And by the way, there are backups. When you have a database, there are backups. There are backups. And we back up databases hourly, right?
She can delete all she wants. It ain't going anywhere.
Exactly. Yep. That's my feeling too. So we'll see. It's just really interesting to pay attention to. The This is a video from Sheriff Lamb in Pinal County. Pinal County? He alleges that illegal border crosses in Arizona are immediately given $5,000 gift card. Huh?
You just don't like to say penal.
It's penal. Is it Pinal County? Pinal? I don't know. Whatever it is PINAL. So the illegals are given a $5,000 gift card once they step in the United States and a plane ticket. Oh my!
Hey, folks, for you. You know, we see all these people coming across, mostly military-age men coming from China, from Africa, from all over the world. Most of them not even being vetted when they come in here. But here's what's really going to bother you. When these folks come across and they're processed, they're being given a cell phone, a plane ticket to wherever they want to go in this country, so probably to a community near you, and a $5,000 Visa card. So while this Christmas season, you're struggling to keep your lights on, while you're struggling to pay your rent, put Christmas presents under the tree for your kids, we have our government giving people that came into this country illegally $5,000 gift cards. That's the truth, folks. God bless.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
It's, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not anything surprising or new.
Well, it is for me because I knew they were getting a debit card, right? And I heard it was $2,400 a month that they were given on that debit card, and they were given the cell phone so they could be tracked, right? And you can find out where they are because you've got a cell phone, you're going to be tracked. And my feeling is with that is that they have them under control then, because they can say, hey, if you don't do what we told you, you go vote or whatever it is they want you to do, they don't do it, then they can stop the flow of cash, right? It's a debit card. They got to fund that account. If they're funding that account, they could turn that off at any time. It's the closest thing to digital currency. Right? So we could start to see they've already got a system in place now to control these millions of illegals that have come in. But I didn't know it was a $5,000 gift card's not trackable. Debit card is. The gift card's anonymous.
Yeah, well, we don't know, who's funding it. I mean, people could say gift card or, it could be a government, what do they call it? EBT cards, the food stamp. I mean, who knows until somebody actually sees one. They could just be misspeaking.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. More on the illegals.
The question is, what is he doing about it as a sheriff? What is he doing about it? He's just,
he's running for...
okay, I'm sheriff for the county, but I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan. It's hard because I get his emails, and every one of his emails is support me, send me money. I'm like, okay, we'll do something. Hey, 2020. 3.5 years ago. How many arrests have you made? Oh, that would be 0? Oh, yeah, I'm going to help you out there. Sorry, guy. All right, we're going to do one more story on illegal immigration, and then we're going to bring in my regular co-host for this show, Mr. Herms. He's standing by, looking really good. So I'm going to do this story, and then we'll pop over there. It's a Chinese invasion, and it's interesting from... what this guy is saying. He's down in Colombia, and the Chinese are coming up through the Darien Gap. They have a map. They're told where to stop, where to get food. It's when you look at this, you realize, wow, this thing's really controlled. This isn't a mistake. This isn't like, oh, we don't really know what's going on at the border.
States.
Interesting stuff to see that how well planned it is, and it's put out there by the Chinese. They're showing that it's in WhatsApp, so it's in some of the social media that they're using to really find their way here. And interesting too that they have people. They call them spies up ahead, further ahead, and telling them where to stop, where to go, where to cross at the border, and all the rest of this stuff. It's really well prepared, and I really think our government may be doing more to facilitate it, to help it, than they are to trying to stop it. So Bruce is dropped. He's off camera for a moment. Let's bring in Mr. Herms. Lewis, come on in, my friend.
You can miss word.
Howdy. Good to see you.
It's good to be here. Before we get into it, it's interesting the story that you were just saying about the $5,000 gift cards. So I have a hypothesis, and let's put 2 and 2 together. So I can tell you that the cartel charges, guess how much?
$5,000
to get somebody across. There you go. The cartel charges $5,000 to get somebody across the border.
Ooh, there's a connection, huh?
See the connection?
Yeah.
So what happens is, and I've been saying forever, and we'll be the first one to break it here, but I've been saying forever, it's the American cartel that is running the Mexican cartels and through the corporate 1,000 companies. Now, they're getting these $5,000 gift cards from who, from where? Ultimately, we don't know, right? Guess where they're going, would be my guess. Where do you think those cards are going? They're going right back across the border to the cartel.
You mean the
I
cards
think that's
themselves?
a reasonable hypothesis. Hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They can use them.
So in other words,
people,
they come in and they're given the card, but they have to pay their coyote. They give them the card and then they can come in.
Right.
Okay.
So in essence, so it's a circle.
Yeah.
So the Fortune 1000, the evil companies, not all of them, but the evil companies that we've exposed, in cages. I happen to be in Arizona around, so there's a lot of passion around this. We've been saying forever that we have to, myself, Mike Gill, and others have been saying forever that you have to watch the American cartels and what they do in connection to the Mexican cartels. So the Mexican cartels actually now, through American lawyers, purchase and flip real estate to launder their own money within inside of our country.
Wow.
Okay. These are facts.
Yeah.
This is not conjecture, right? These are all exposed. So I don't think it's a very far leap to say if they're giving out $5,000 gift cards, that they're probably funded through American corporations, and that immigrant gets that gift card, that illegal, and what do immediately? They just hand it right back over and get. So it's as if almost one step away now, the corporations are funding this craziness. I don't think that's a very far leap. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're both charging one's 5,000 and the other's 5,000. I don't think that's a leap at all. Zero.
There has to be a connection. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
How about this Chinese thing with the Chinese people getting told where to go and giving maps and using WhatsApp and finding all this information?
Yeah. Well, again, I think we talked about this before, but China is what we call a lockdown country. Okay, so their internet is pretty much locked down. It's hard for them to get anything out. They certainly can't get a body out of China very easy. So what happens is the Chinese have done a really good job on their part of infiltrating our school systems and our government and with their spies. So they send them through student visas and so on and so forth. But they're a spy from the beginning. They don't just become a spy. So what happens is they infiltrate our governments and our countries through that access, but they have their hands on everybody that comes through. Every visa that comes through, the Communist Chinese government knows about it. These aren't accidents. So if these visas are going to, say, Honduras, and then through Honduras or wherever, the Darien Gap, and then coming up to the United States, do you think the Communist Chinese government does not know about that? Of course they know about that. It's a lockdown country. Yeah. They absolutely know about that. So these guys are not only infiltrating the United States through the southern border, they're being paid by who? The CCP.
And there's Chinese police departments in a lot of big cities as well to keep an eye on them. And this is with that interview, that video went on a little bit further. And these guys said, we're being told to come here, but we're very afraid if we step out of line, they're going to come for us. And he said, what do you mean? You're in America. Well, there's Chinese. And they said plainclothes police is what they have. So they have enforcers managing that Chinese population within this country, within the borders of this country. So they're coming here and they're still not experiencing freedom. They're still afraid that they're being controlled by CCP.
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
See, and the key is that everybody needs to just get the word out, because this is not a political issue.
Right.
If we explain this, there's not a Democrat or Republican that would disagree with us. Right?
Right.
They would say this is madness. We just have to expose the information, because it's certainly not going to come through the mainstream media. That's laughable.
Yeah.
That's state media. If anybody hasn't figured that out, they need to.
Need to work on it. Deep breath. All right. Fireworks in Arizona today. Let's talk about what happened there, and let's get into your side of the story, because it's kind of fascinating. I got little bits and pieces of it. I've seen some of the video clips. Nothing like being on site, though.
Yeah, it was pretty extraordinary. So I found out through Leslie and some other people that the final board of supervisor meeting in Maricopa County, which I've been saying Maricopa County is the hub. That's the hub. That's where we are. So I found out that Leslie and the great, amazing team of people there, there's their Patriot Warriors. We're going to attend the last meeting, and I knew if they attended last meeting, there's going to be some fireworks because they're warriors. So I surprised them, and I just wanted to show my support. So I popped in today. I didn't let anybody know, and I popped in today just to show my support. And I had an opportunity to speak. I really didn't know if I was going to speak or not, so I was kind of writing something. Ironically, Leslie did such a good job. I had to rewrite my talking points so many times because she hit on so many of them before I was up. Because she's smart. What she did is she took many positions. So they have several topics. So instead of just saying, I'm just going to go open forum, she picked several topics and she got her information through that way. Because you have to play games with these people because they limit you to 2 minutes. So the way this started was very interesting. It started about 15 minutes late. And what they do is they play games, and it's the white versus the dark, the Freemason rhetoric. But what they do is the first 2 hours of this meeting was them patting themselves on the back. They should have all wore slings because their arms were broken from patting themselves so hard. It was incredible. It was 2 hours of them just saying how wonderful they are, and they had speakers that say how wonderful they are. So what they were doing is it's almost like spell casting. They were positioning, so anybody that had a counter narrative to what they thought, they were trying to position them as, well, how could you possibly not like us? We're wonderful. Look at all the great things we do. So it was a game. And Leslie got up a couple times, and then she was making some very key points. And Clint Hickman and Bill Gates got very aggressive with her. So I was frustrated. He disrespected her, and I had to yell out and saying that's uncalled for. You can't do that. Can't be disrespecting people, blah, 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 blah. And obviously they wanted me to be quiet, but I wasn't. And then I don't know if you have Leslie's speech, but then Leslie went open forum and spoke before I did. If you
filming, do you want me to come?
Okay. You know what was happening is I wasn't hearing it here because there's no audio on the left channel on this video. This live stream, by the way, kept failing when they were streaming it. They did a horrible job. And what I did is I downloaded the live stream after the fact, but there's audio only on one channel. So on the live stream, you guys were hearing it. We weren't hearing it here locally because I monitor the left channel, not the right channel. Should I put the other earpiece in and maybe I'd hear it, but sorry about that. But it was showing up on the audio from.
So what's interesting about that, I think Bruce was making a comment. He was muted, I believe.
Yeah.
I was just saying, why are you going lefty on us there, Robert?
I don't know. I hear better in the left ear, I guess. I don't know.
So what was happening a lot is, so at the beginning, they did this whole charade of literally showing Clint Hickman, and it was a total circus. It was an act. And then Leslie wants to point out some of these things, and he would do this game constantly. He would say, oh, it's theater. You're all theatrical, right? He'd play this game to dumb you down. And then if you notice, he said, Merry Christmas. So he gifted her the ability to bring in a certain water bottle and set it outside, right? Interesting. It was a beautiful gift. Now, I'm going to set the stage for a couple of things. So in Maricopa County, they do not have sheriffs guarding them. I wish they did. They have hired Maricopa County employees that are dressed up like security guards that are fully weaponized. And the reason why this is important is because if you can get sheriffs on your side, they will hold these people accountable, where the security would never, because they're working for the corporation. And it's a police state while you're in there. Not all counties do this. This is crazy, right? But they know what they're doing. They're very, very sophisticated. And this is why I say where Maricopa County goes, Arizona goes. Where Arizona goes, the rest of the United States goes. This is why we spend so much time here focusing on this. This is why Cage's the documentary focused on Arizona. guys, don't just look at this as one state. Look at this. Where Arizona goes, the whole country and possibly the world goes. And I know it sounds crazy, but that is the micro that we're focusing on right now. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So after Leslie spoke and some other people, I just had to get my point as well. What are your thoughts, guys?
Where's Bruce? Where's Bruce?
My mic drop on that speech, man. Just laid it out there. And the old shameless plug there, rememberyouroath.com. That was fantastic.
I love that.
No, and then getting this, like you said, getting this stuff on the record so people know, because this is, it's a part of the public record of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. And who knows how long it will take. Yeah, but this is effective stuff for sure.
Well, what we have to understand, Bruce, and you know this very well, you and I have had this conversation a couple of times. This is not an overnight process, guys. I know this is what we believe. I know the interpreters of Q, and I'm not saying Q, let's be very clear on that. But the interpretation of Q is it's all going to be done for us, and it's, we can go play with our dogs in our backyard and pick our roses and just have a good time. Yes, that may be medicinal, but that's not the way we're going to be taking our countries back. So this is very important to understand. This is a long-term process, but we are winning. We are winning at every level. If you would see how uncomfortable these people were, it was crazy. Now, the view that they give on the cameras doesn't do justice to the audience, because what the audience has figured out, I guess I didn't figure it out. You'll find out later where I was sitting. I don't know if we have a shot of me sitting there, but I sat on the inside and the audience sits in the middle and on the outside. I guess it's because the camera shows everything down the center, right? So they have, oh, by the way, the Board of County Supervisors, they have their little puppets staged in there. Anytime they need to feel good about themselves, they bring them up. Hey, what do you think about this, John? Oh, I'm so glad you called me. I didn't know I was coming up, right? John will come up. And by the way, they don't get 2 minutes, and you get to clap for them, right? But for we the people, we only get 2 minutes. And if you clap, you're going to get thrown out of it. So in addition to that, they even have a guy that puts his name on virtually every single issue to speak. And so he's either their counter narrative from the audience, or he's their yes man. And many times they said, hey, Mr. Blue, would you like to speak? He's like, I just want to tell you, this is great. I'd vote for that. That's awesome. Yes, let's go. I'm like, by the way, all these votes were completely predetermined before they even came forward. Unanimously, over 100 votes, they voted for all of them. I'm telling you, it's a big deal what's going on there. This is corruption at the height of the corruption, but it makes sense because this is actually, it goes hand in hand.
You made a good point, Lewis, about how uncomfortable they look, because that's what I pay attention to is things like that. It's not necessarily what's being said. When the voices of the public are speaking, they're not making any eye contact. They're often looking down. They're looking away. They're looking at each other. They're making faces and gestures. They're truly uncomfortable. And if you take I wish Carol Maureen Friesen was with us, because let's read the body language of some of these people, right? And you could see how they are in a position they don't want to be in. They know the people are not supporting them, and they're being probably dictated from behind what they need to do, because they're the front face of it. They're the piñata, right? I think the piñata is the thing you beat up, right? The thing, and
you nailed it.
Okay, so this is what these guys are, and they're not happy to be in this position, right? But they don't have a choice. They got the goods on them. Whatever they've got over them, they've got to play that role. And clearly, I mean, if you look at, pay attention to that. Forget about the person speaking sometimes. Just look at the people in dais there and just look, whoa, these people they're not happy. You know? What was your feeling? Because you were seeing them better than the camera could point out.
Well, the first time I was there and this time, I spent most of my time watching body language. So it's very interesting. Mm-hmm. In fact, the BOS, the manager, the county manager, she had some of the weirdest body language. It never equaled what the conversation was, ever. when I was watching her, and I was like, what's going on? So she was deflecting, and it was very, very odd. Bill Gates had extremely guilty body language, and Clint Hickman was just full of arrogance, right? And then you have, I think the guy Gerardo on the other side is kind of a scoffer, just scoffs at everything. And then the other people are fairly stoic, like this.
Yeah.
It's almost like they have to be there, and they say nothing, by the way, except yes to the vote.
Yeah, they're
They
in shock.
generally don't. They don't even motion or second
Yeah.
the votes. They just say yes. And I'm like, wow, they are being controlled. It's crazy to watch. It is crazy. I mean, we can do a whole documentary just literally on the session of this. And it's the same way in Orange County, California. It's the same way at other places. But it's a script, guys. We have to understand that they're working under controllers, and it's a script. And they are actors playing roles in this drama. But we are breaking it apart. And it is really, it's hard to watch, and it's fun to watch at the same time. And we the people, not me, I'm just a cog in this wheel of everybody else. We are doing a phenomenal job of breaking this down and exposing this. And a great example I've talked to, which I love to do because I travel a lot. I talked to 2 Uber drivers today because I just flew in and now I'm flying out. That's all I'm doing. I talked to 2 Uber drivers. Both of them are not completely awake, but awake to knowing that they want to pay attention. And that's huge. And awake to, you know what we're being told has been all lies. And I'm hearing this a lot from people on the street. I think it's just beautiful.
Bruce, tell a story about your experience at the hospital and red pilling them too, because that's important to this conversation.
Yeah, well, it was the coolest thing is the nurse that came on. Her name was Brittany. Anyway, got to talking. You know, I always ask the question, hey, what made you want to go into nursing? And she goes, well, I want to help people. You know, I like how the body's kind of cool, how it works, blood and stuff. And she had a little nose ring. I kind of had a good vibration from her, good energy. So I asked her, I said, well, now that you're, you know, being a part of this, you know, medical thing that you thought was cool, how has your viewpoint changed? And she goes, oh my God, I fucking hate it. You know, she got into it for the right reason. But because she said, I just have to go through this. I have to get my experience. You know, she wants to get out on her own. I told her she probably should go into holistic type stuff because she's into that. Her parents are, you know, super healthy fitness type people. And, you know, they all bought in. So she was working there at the hospital, but she was red pill for sure. She's the first one who dropped the word cabal. And as soon as she did that, I was like, yeah, I got a good nurse.
So, you know, what to follow up on Lewis's point, we're seeing more and more people are more awake than we realize. I'm seeing that here and meeting more customers because now I'm down at the farm where rather than being at the house, I'm at the farm. I'm seeing customers daily. And yeah, we're having those kinds of conversations and people are aware. I mean, a year ago they were asleep. They had no idea, no clue. Everything's fine. And now they're like, things just aren't normal here. And it's really good to see that we think we're not making progress. We are making massive progress. It's a little at a time. It's the Queen Mary, right? It's not a rowboat. Not going to flip on a dime, but it's the Queen Mary, and it takes time to turn it. But we are turning that tide.
Absolutely. And for those ones who are still there, I mean, I left several of the screw big gov Post-its all over my room, you know, and all through the places that I was able to go in the hospital. So. I left a mark there. Those Post-its serve a purpose.
Yep, and thank you for that, Bruce. And I hear they make a difference, and you know that matters. If they make a difference, I'm gonna redesign the new round of it coming here soon, and we'll put some more of those out. But I appreciate the work you do and all these people, and I just wanted to show my appreciation for the group in Maricopa County. They had about 30 people, 25 to 30 show up today. You couldn't see them because they're all on the right side of the room. But they're a pretty tight-knit group. And I think we had 24 that were set to speak, but 3 of them got shut down at least because of games, Clint Hickman, which ultimately got me thrown out. What games that Clint Hickman was playing. So I hope we have the speech of this constitutional gentleman. I'm going to be interviewing him because he's actually they've already been served. right? This isn't just a what you would call a common law case. This is very, very interesting. In fact, it was being seen in closed doors by the Supreme Court today while he was speaking. Um, so this is a big deal, and this is one of the ways they're going to be holding him accountable. The idea was these patriots set it up so they were trying to defer their time to him. So he was going to have an 8-minute speech, right? And Clint Hickman shut that down. He said he wouldn't allow that. In fact, he spent a minute and a half just fighting with somebody over it. And finally, during the 2-minute speech, he cut this guy off, which you're going to see. And I don't know if you could hear me in the background, but I'm saying, I said, Clint, you're saying it, and I'm yelling. I said, you're saying it's your right. So it's a rule. Show us the rule. Show us the rule. And then later I did that, and that turned out to be an issue. But let's see if we can show this gentleman. He had a very great speech. So then I started asking, where's the rule, and so on and so forth. And then he got escorted out of there. I later found out that one of the security guys he knew pretty well, which is why it de-escalated actually, because he was going to make him take him to jail. But regardless, Daniel Wood had some phenomenal information. So let's explain this, because we talk about a lot about this constitutional law and these constitutional lawsuits and so on and so forth. And I meant these common law people. So the people that are focusing on this common law, they've had some issue with me, because here's what I always say. I said, hey, I'm all in. We should be under common law, 100%. But it can't just be blustering. It needs to be teeth. And what that means is it means that you need to form a jail, and you need to go through the process, take somebody through common law, put them through a trial, and put them in jail, and then let's see what teeth this has. Will the deep state come after him? I don't think so, actually. I think this is where we win. I think this is where we back down. We can prove that it's all legal and legitimate, right? So I talked to Daniel outside, and he actually agreed with me. So that's the direction that we would all need to go in. And it's a tough, but he did a great job. He's now, here's the good news, is there is actually real, very high level military people that are looking at this right now. And they're looking at it legitimately. Do I think it'll go anywhere? I don't know. You know, the reality is we're finding out that many high level military, many high level sheriffs, they just don't have the courage to do what needs to be done, because they're more focused on their paycheck and their pension. Well, that's why I said, when it's all said and done, would you? I mean, personally, let me speak for myself. I would rather have a legacy, generations to come, that I did good work, not than one that I cowered to the cabal system just to make my family was taken care of. My family's starting to come around on that, and it's a hard sell, guys. I understand that, and I know what I'm asking people is not easy, but it's imperative. There's people that are going to have courage, and whistleblowers are going to have courage to turn this thing around. The good news is we are going in that direction, and it's a very large aircraft carrier, and it takes a long time to turn around, but we're going in that direction. Now, later, what happened is this Clint Hickman guy, in his arrogance, and it got me very upset, I'm going to be honest with you. In his arrogance, he started to state that, so what we have coming forward is this utopia of speech, where we're not going to allow this type of speak and these condescending, I forgot the words, but it was just so arrogant and disgusting what he said. And then I called him out on it, and then I wanted to know where, but I'm in the audience, right? So I wanted to know where the rule is that he kept referencing that he had the right to do this, and he wouldn't answer it. And then that was fun. So to give you some context of what was going on there, and thanks for Robert showing that and making me look like a knucklehead, but So to give you some context of what was going on there is I was calling him out on this rule that doesn't exist, by the way, right? This bullshit that they make up. And I don't know if anybody knows, they were prepared. Did you see how fast that security guy came walking down the aisle? Absolutely. They were prepared. They knew it. Probably already targeted me as one of their whatever because of my speech, or maybe because I said hi to Leslie or some crazy shit like that. So anyways, the first thing when the guy came over and he went to touch me on the shoulder, I let him know, I go, "You're not to touch me. Keep your hands off me." And then he kind of backed off a little bit. And then when I got up, and so if you notice, he kept stepping in front of me and Clint Hickman. It's not like I was going to bum rush him. He didn't want me to see him, which is weird, right? And he didn't want Hickman to see me. So they had this whole thing planned out. So what happened is then when I stood up and he tried to approach me again, and I don't know if you can tell because of my gestures, I used a very nice F word. And I said, "You're not going to want to put your hands on me. If you put your hands on me, that's going to be a big mistake and it's not going to work out for you very well." That's why I was pointing at him. And I don't know if you saw me, he backed off at that point. And I said, "I'll walk out." And I walked off from there. I'm not showing you just to show this, I'm a tough guy. That's not what this is about. This is about, we have to understand our position constitutionally. We are sovereign. It is we, the people, that control this, not them. The second you give them an inch where they feel like they can control you or boss you around, they are going to take it, and everybody else around will kowtow and bow to them. We cannot do that. We can never do that.
Just looking at the comments in the chat room, and everyone's cheering you on, Lewis. Thank God for people like us or like you, I should say, in this case, step up and hold their feet to the fire, because there's just not enough of us doing it. I mean, that's the reality of it. They keep going because they're not getting enough pushback, and the pushback will get to a certain point. There'll be a tipping point, and they won't be able to continue. And we're certainly building towards that. We're just not there yet.
It's exactly right. But we are building towards that. And that's a good thing. And I'm watching them, and they are cowering in the face of this adversity. And they need more of this. I mean, remember, I always go back to Orange County, and I'm going to tell this story again because it's so important. Orange County, California. Okay? A card that you would have to carry around. Madness. So between my friend Brian Isley and Lee Dundas and some other people, they organized, get this, 2,500 people showed up at that board of supervisors meeting in Orange County. 1,500 signed up to speak. They were so nervous, it got worse and worse. By the time they got halfway through 750 people, they said, "Okay, you guys win." They pulled it off the table and it never came back on, because we, the people, hold all the power. As soon as we recognize that, we will take it. And that's what this is. This is a build, though. Look at, they were averaging 3-4 people together. That team of people, by the way, with no help of mine at all, because I've been so busy outside of Arizona and doing other things, with zero help for me, they built up. Now they had like almost 30 people at that meeting. That's phenomenal. And I know when they're serious and they put the word out, they can get hundreds and hundreds organized. So if this isn't fixed by the next Board of Supervisors meeting, I have a feeling you're going to see a lot more people there, because we're starting to see this foundation crack. The dam is cracking right now, and you have to keep the pressure on it. And that's what's happening right now. Again, where Maricopa County goes, Arizona goes, where Arizona goes, the country goes, where the country goes, the world goes. This is the place to focus on.
And it's quite the pit that they've got there. I mean, that room is very controlled. They've got the security. They've got the incredibly, communist rules. I think there was another speaker that said, "This is what communism looks like. We're here," right? And he's not wrong about that. I mean, in that room, those rules are so tightly controlled that they're not listening to the people. They could care less what the people think, right? They're just not there for that. They've got other reasons for being there, and that's not one of them. Serving the people is not one of them. And if we don't hold their feet to the fire, who's going to do it? Because it's just going to continue.
Yeah, and just add some context, and I'll let you get on with the show. 4 out of the 5 are Republicans.
Yeah.
This is why I'm saying it's not an R or a D. You guys have to in fact, there was people in the audience who are like, you guys are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And they're staunch Republicans. I'm like, why would you be a Republican? It doesn't even make sense right now.
Not anymore.
There's not a party that cares about we the people, right? In fact, it's specifically there to divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. That's why they have it. And we get sucked into it. So we'll see.
Let's fight amongst ourselves over Democrat, Republican. This way we don't pay attention to what they're really going on over there. The Uniparty, they're all in the same boat. You're all playing the same game, you know? It's quite intricate, and it's hard to explain it because we can sort of make it too soft and too easy and too simplistic, but it's a very well coordinated game that's been going on for generations, right?
Yep, agreed. So thank you, boys. I'll be listening in.
Okay.
I appreciate both of you a lot. But I got to get some liquid, and that would be water for you guys. I don't do the other
no
stuff.
Liquid entertainment for you, huh?
No, just water. But I need to hydrate. So I'll grab that while I'm listening. Thank you, everybody in chat, guys, watching this on recorded. If you found this compelling, share it around because it can be a template on how you address this type of wickedness in the country.
Yep. Well, God bless you, Lewis. Thank you for all you do, and it's such a pleasure to be a friend of yours. And thank you for allowing us to be part of your world as well, because it's an amazing world, a lot of fun, and we're making a difference. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's our only focus. We're certainly not here to stroke our egos. We're here to make a difference, and we're doing it. We're doing our part.
That's it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Lewis.
God bless.
Be well. All right.
Those guys with the rule, they play that same junk here in Pinellas County as well.
Yeah.
Commissioners at school board meetings. We had tried a couple of times to defer our 2 minutes to somebody else who could have a longer speech.
Can't do it, huh?
They wouldn't let it. They wouldn't let that happen. They want that controlled, very short stuff. They don't give a rip about what. It's just something they have to go through to let the peasants piss and moan and complain. But until we get in there like these guys are doing in Arizona, and our group here in Pinellas County is not as pretty strong as well. We've made some good headway.
Yeah.
And helping hold them accountable. I think we're going to need to start doing some recalls here pretty soon. So I mean that it's a problem everywhere.
It is, and, because we've been complacent, Bruce. We've spent so much time in complacency. This thing's really gotten deep and it's gotten rooted. It's like the weeds in your garden. If you don't pull them, a couple of weeds, who cares? And then you come back 6 weeks later and where's the garden? It's just all weeds, and you can't even dig through it because the weeds are form their roots, and they've got their offspring now. It's crazy. So it's kind of like that, and it's been going on for a very long time. It's going to be a while to unravel it, but we're not quitting. None of us are quitting. Anyone watching this show, you're not quitting. You're watching this show because you're not a quitter, right? Clearly.
Exactly.
All right. Matt Gaetz. He's a little upset today. Florida, right? Matt Gaetz, Florida? He's in your area.
He's up in the Panhandle near Pensacola, that area near the Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm. So he's upset about what the Washington Post posted. And this was their photo. You see Caesar at the bottom and Trump at Caesar at the top, Trump at the bottom, and they're trying to, he says Washington Post is looking for Trump. Matt Gaetz seems to think that's the case, and he knows exactly what the left is up to. The artwork depicts a statue of Caesar merged with the face of President Trump, essentially conveying the message, eliminate the new dictator, just as you did the previous one. Now, this is from Revolver News. The disturbingly violent piece was written by the actual editor-in-large of Washington Post, Robert Kagan, who is also a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. Incidentally, his wife is Victoria Nuland of Color Revolution fame. See what's going on here? They can't beat them at the polls, so let's take them out the old-fashioned way, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's funny. And the thing I've noticed too about Washington Post stuff is, stuff that may be, not so favorable for their ideology, they put behind the paywall. Because when I'm searching stuff, I click on links. I don't have a subscription to the Washington Post, but a lot of times you can only read a portion of the article. But some recently, there's been more of these, big, huge hit pieces that they're not putting behind the paywall, and you can get it to them pretty easy. So I thought that was pretty telling.
It's a little insidious. They want more people to see it. So what they're doing is they're pushing it out there, which is, yeah, I get that. How efficient is our government? Do you think they're really efficient? What do you think? Scale of 1 to 10, about a 4, right? No, even less than that.
They're in the hole. They're looking up at 0.
There's a hole. I like that so much, Bruce. Well, here's another one. This is from Zero Hedge. This one says Joe Biden's 2021 infrastructure bill boasts $7.5 billion investment in electric vehicle chargers. And his administration insists the country is on track to install over 1 million public chargers by the end of the decade. But reports indicate that so far not a single one has actually been built. The 7.5 federal funding plan for EV chargers consists of $5 billion National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program and the $2.5 billion Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Program, both of which are being administered through the agencies affiliated with the Department of Transportation. Isn't that Buttigieg? Are you surprised nothing's going on? However, despite the more than $2 billion of the 7.5 in federal EV charger funding already authorized under the programs, not even half the states have started to take bids from contractors for construction. And not a single new public charger has been built. Yeah. Go get that electric car. You won't be able to charge it, but get it.
Well, that's the thing. They're making this big push for all this, while the big 3 car makers are kind of dialing back their EV stuff or their projections of how quickly they want to get to all EV. Different governors have made those calls. By a certain date, we're going to be clean, and or all the city and whatever state government vehicles are going to be EVs. They're all backtracking on that because they know it can't go. So this money, it's sitting there somewhere. It's a slush fund for somebody. Somebody's doing something. It's just not, it's probably hasn't been printed yet. It's the fake money. Who knows?
well, that brings you to a Benjamin Fulford kind of thinking. It's like, oh, they're giving all that money away, but they don't actually have it. So, that's the way he's thinking about this or sharing. So we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting that, they're still pushing this EV thing when really they need to be pushing. And interesting enough, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back, that guy, when he was governor here in California, he wanted to put hydrogen stations from Southern California to Northern California, and they blocked him at every turn. Why did he want to do that? Because he knew, like so many of us do, that electric is not the solution. Right? Those cobalt mines, those lithium mines are really, 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 really toxic. And then you can't recycle these batteries. No. You've got all this toxic waste after the fact, and they're starting to figure out how to do it. But for the most part, they've not been able to recycle these batteries. And they have a life cycle. Because your smartphone, before it dies, it's typically about 500 full charges from completely dead all the way up. And any fraction thereof, about 500 full cycles, and that's the end of that lithium ion battery. It doesn't work anymore. Interesting.
Yep. And there have been many studies done of recent late that the energy consumption that's needed to harvest, to mine that stuff, to make the batteries, to get everything going, it's a net loss. The carbon that they're wanting to displace, it's costing more carbon to build this EV stuff, and even charging it is just too expensive.
It is, and then my other question there is that we don't have the grid structure to support here in California and other states as well. If everyone had driving an EV and everyone plugged it in at night, they tell us to turn our air conditioners off when it goes above 90 degrees here. Turn your air conditioner off until 11 p.m. Right? So the peak times in California for electricity start at 4 and they go to about 11 p.m. What happens between 4 and 11 if you're on solar? Oh, that little orange ball in the sky does what now? What does it do? It goes below the horizon. You don't see it anymore. It doesn't work. And how about when the wind doesn't blow? So you've got these renewables that are they provide a little bit. And the big challenge we have is electricity is very difficult to store, very costly to store. So it's got to be generated and used as it's needed, as it's being called gas, right? These plants that can be spun up in minutes to meet the demand. And when you cancel all of them, like you've done here in California, then we have brownouts and we have blackouts and all that kind of thing. And so now you want us all on electric vehicles when we can't run air conditioners, our washing machines, our dishwashers, right? It's crazy. It's absolute nonsense. So you got to look at, well, who's really behind this? Well, big oil probably is, and they're always made to be the villain, right? But who's going to supply these electrical power generation stations? It's funny when you see the diesel generators and they come plug their electric car into a diesel generator. Oh, that's very efficient now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why not just burn the diesel and cut out the middleman? I mean, maybe
right.
I don't know.
I'm all for using stuff responsibly. I mean, there's ways forward, but I mean, pushing everything headlong. And then here's another division thing too. They want to make this the environment. We don't care. And then you got the greenies over here hugging trees. There is a middle ground. Tesla's doing some really good stuff with the electrical vehicles, but it's not a massive solution for everybody by 2030.
No, not at all. And you can have a hydrogen generator in your home, right? That uses electricity. It doesn't use tons of electricity, but you fill it with water and it breaks the hydrogen out of the water. H2O, the H is hydrogen, right? Takes it out of the water and then it captures it and then compresses it and puts it into what basically looks like a giant scuba tank in your car.
I mean, there's this technology exists. There's those people in they're hiding this. Bring out the free energy, bring out the Tesla stuff. That's all we need to do. I think we're ways away from that stuff coming out into the public.
We also have cars that you can fill the tank with water and they will do the generation as you drive. They'll generate the hydrogen as you drive. So they call them fuel cells, which is really kind of cool. So the technologies are there. I mean, they exist. They're just a question of, we don't have an infrastructure to support that. We're trying to build an infrastructure. We can see the failure here. It's not working. Trying to build an infrastructure for electric when, really the electric's not the answer. It's not the answer.
No.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. All right. Shall we talk about pets for a moment? You had a dog there, and everyone was like, "Where's the dog, Bruce? I want to see the dog."
My wife came back, and the dog took off. It's the wife's dog. That was Brewer, a little applehead Chihuahua, was holding him.
We were wondering because all we saw was the head. It was just the head popping up. I'm like, "What did they do that surgery?"
Sitting him in my hand.
Small little guy.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a cat that's doing really, 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 really well. Just a few weeks after trying the Pets 24/7 food, blew me away. Literally, we were thinking, he was done. We were going to put him down, and he wasn't eating, he wasn't drinking, and he was really getting thin, and flopping on the floor, not moving for hours and hours and hours and hours. It didn't look good. Slowly started to eat, started to drink a little bit, and then we got him this Pets 24/7 food with the I don't know how you pronounce that. Coriolis
versicolor.
Coriolis versicolor. I'm going to learn that. It has a mushroom, and that mushroom is has a lot of healing properties. Apparently, not just for pets, but also for humans. And
first thing I took when I got home was I took 2 of those. I'm going to take a few more.
Yeah.
I ate some of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom cookies. So yeah, that's the first thing I did when I got home because it boosts and modulates the immune system.
Yeah, sure. It really does, and it was kind of very surprising to see the change in this cat in literally under a week. At first, he didn't want the food. I'm like, all right, something, just because I gave it to him just out of, and it was too much of a change. So cats they like their habits. They like to do the same thing. So I just mixed it with the food he was getting before, and now he can't get enough of it. Now it's not just once a day that he asks for it. Now it's 3 times a day, morning, noon, night, before bed. When he first gets up, he wakes me up because he got to have it. He's really addicted to it. And oh my gosh, he has changed so much, Bruce. This is Thumper. I think you met Thumper when you were up here. So you could see, here's a 13, 14-year-old cat that plays like a kitten. It's crazy. So you can find out a little bit more, renegademedia.tv/pets, renegademedia.tv/pets. And I'm already starting to get success stories from people who are trying it with their pets as well. And Bruce knows.
No joke.
Yeah.
The stuff is no joke. It's a real deal. Do your own research. But this is the way, like the Mandalorian said, this is the way. Getting away from the pharmaceutical stuff, learning more about the natural, holistic, different things, the different strains of mushrooms and other stuff that are out there, besides having to go get pills all the time. So this stuff is no joke. It's real deal.
his hindquarters, and we were trying to find them the other day, and they're nowhere to be found. They're completely gone. I mean, not just a little bit gone, completely can't feel them anymore. Nice. And he's got the energy of a kitten again. This is so amazing. It's just crazy when the animals get the food and the nutrition that they need, how quickly their bodies respond. Our bodies do the same thing. When we feed us properly, a lot of the ailments that we have tend to go away. That's why we're big fans of Neumi. And now we're big fans of Pets 24/7 as well. And we add to our list very slowly because we have to vet everything and make sure it works. And Lewis has great stories about his dogs. And Bruce, I know you're having success with your dogs as well. And or I'm starting to hear from people who are buying it from us as well and thinking, hey, this is really good stuff. And share the word. This food you're getting for the pets in the supermarket, no good. No good. It's made with all waste products. It's not healthy. It's not. And I was feeding. I always fed our cat raw chicken liver, organic, free range, right? Real expensive stuff, and fed him organic food, and he was still having not full nutrition. So, you never know. This was great. Great. All right. This is really interesting. This next story here. Get back to the news, please. You guys talk too much about your pets. Well, I like my cat. I'm sorry. Texas, the Daily Wire and the Federalist sue U.S. State Department for conspiring with NewsGuard to censor America media companies. This is from Zero Hedge. Following bombshell censorship revelations exposed over the last year, beginning with the Twitter files, the state of Texas, the Daily Wire, and the Federalists have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. State Department on Tuesday, alleging that the government agency funded censorship technology designed to bankrupt domestic media outlets, which have disfavored political opinions. The State Department's mission to obliterate the First Amendment is completely un-American. It's also unconstitutional. This agency will not get away with their illegal campaign to silence citizens and publications they disagree with. As the lawsuit explains, the Daily Wire, the Federalist, and other conservative news organizations were branded as unreliable or risky by the government-funded and government-promoted censorship enterprises, starving them of advertising revenue and reducing the circulation of their reporting and speech. Obviously, when they're declared unreliable and that kind of thing, they're not going to be spread all over social media either. All as a direct result of the State Department's unlawful censorship scheme. The outlets are now being represented by the new Civil Liberties Alliance, Mark Chenoweth, who said that the federal government cannot do indirectly what the First Amendment forbids them from doing directly. Are we making progress? With this, I don't think we would have seen this, Bruce, come up last year.
It's quite everything is coming out. I mean, the flood. You think? I mean, just all these different stories. This censorship industrial complex that's been coined. That's the newest thing now. They're going headlong into this. And isn't that? I thought I read. Is that NewsGuard? They're not even an American company or something, right? It's from outside the United States.
I don't know much about them. I don't hear. I've heard that company name a few times. I want to show you some of the riskiest sites and the least riskiest sites. Look at this list here. So the least risky sites, NPR, of course. AP News, the New York Times, ProPublica, Insider, USA Today, Washington Post, there it is, WAPO, BuzzFeed News, Wall Street Journal, Huffington Post. These are all left-wing leaning, all of them. And now the riskiest sites. I should put that on the screen, right? I thought I had it on the screen. I didn't. Okay, sorry about that, guys. New York Post. Reason Magazine. I'd never heard of Reason Magazine. Then I went there today.
Any good?
And it's libertarian leaning.
Oh, okay.
So they're libertarian is small government. Real Clear Politics. I never really saw them as a right wing, but I guess they're on our side. The Daily Wire, The Blaze. That's Glenn Beck's publication. One America News Network, OWN. The American Conservative, the Federalist, Newsmax, and the American Spectator. And I'm sure we're on that list somewhere.
Big Gov didn't make the top 10. I'm very surprised.
SPG News is not on there. What is the matter with us? We're just not doing our work here.
But yeah, no. You talked about Matt Gaetz earlier. Matt Gaetz has got his panties on the wad because somehow the networking people, the IT people there at the Capitol blocked the Gateway Pundit. He wants some answers. How come these government computers, I can't get the gateway pun in my office?
Yeah.
They're blocking that stuff.
And they would do things like, this is an important message from the United Nations. Well, that would tell me it's not an important message, but okay, I guess it works up there. And it would be over and over again. And every commercial break, they would play it. And it was crazy. And all the hosts on the radio stations, oh, we got ours today. Yeah, we're not feeling good, but we got ours anyway, and it's like, you got to go get it. And the pushing. It's like, I really had to stop listening to the radio. The indoctrination was complete. So here she's the mayor of Montreal, right? She's the mayor there. And, now she's collapsing on camera. Can't hide it anymore. Can't hide the effects of this. They can call it what they want. And here's her commentary after the fact from her office. La mairesse de Montréal a subi un malaise en conférence de presse et heureusement, elle est hors de danger. Elle recouvra tout l'accompagnement médical requis et vous remercie pour votre soutien.
Well, that explains everything.
That does. It would right there. You know exactly what she's talking about, right? So the message basically is like, oh, she had a little episode. They didn't even say what it was, just a little. She wasn't feeling well, and happily she's out of danger. That's exactly what they said here. She'll receive all the medical that she requires, and she thanks you for caring. She's not well liked in Montreal, by the way, just to give you an idea. This is not a winning candidate there either. It's to the point where you can't hide it, right? And, that's why I say that story from New Zealand and all the data coming out, the data gives you the story. The media gives you the narrative. And why they're trying to cover up the data, because that's the real story. Because it interferes or diminishes or breaks apart the narrative, makes the narrative not real anymore. But when you see it in your own eyes, you're seeing it right in front of you. How do you hide it? I mean, let me ask you, Bruce, just pragmatically, right? Because you're a pragmatic guy like I am.
Letting everybody out. There's consequences to this stuff. And we're starting to see that. It's going to get worse and worse.
Yeah. We haven't hit the tipping point, the bottom yet, before it starts turning the other direction. So people are like, oh, when is it going to end? When's it going to end? Hey, here's a handsome dude.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Should get your jackets, guys. It's fall. Screwbiggov.com/swag, and you can look as good as Lewis does in this jacket. I think you're really going to love it. I'm loving mine. Phoebe's got hers. Bruce has got one, and actually the whole team kind of has them, don't we? Look at that.
Yeah, they're high quality.
Bruce and Natalie on the right there. Natalie, and then Bruce, and then Lewis and his lovely wife, and then I don't know the couple in the middle though.
That's Tom and Beth. That was at their wedding in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Okay, that's Tom and Beth. Okay, I got to meet them.
Yeah, they're from Sarasota. They're awesome people.
All right, and here's me and
high quality jackets. High quality jackets.
They really are. They're really nice. Here's me
embroidered. They're warm. The pockets are good.
Yep.
Nice quality zipper. Yeah, you're gonna like them.
Yep. Really, really, really good. So go over to screwbiggov.com/swag and you can see what we've got there. We've got more than just jackets. We've got sweatshirts and we've got Remember Your Oath and we've got ScrewBigGov. And Lisa's working on always new stuff all the time, I think, for that. Hey, here's an AI nightmare coming your way. Jimmy Stewart can put you to sleep with a wellness app called Calm. He reads sleep stories.
Really?
Stewart, thanks to AI voice cloning technology, has come back to life for a new sleep story from the subscription-based wellness app Calm, according to a report by The Messenger. Stewart, who died in 1997, is the latest celebrity narrator to be featured on Calm, joining fellow celebrities such as pop star Harry Styles, actor Regé-Jean Page, singer Pink, and actress Laura Dern. On the app, a clone of Stewart's voice can be heard narrating a 45-minute sleep session titled It's a Wonderful Sleep Story. The app reportedly uses AI cloning technology known as Respeecher in order to get the late actor to join the app as a narrator.
Have you heard any of it?
I have not. I was looking for a sample and I couldn't find a sample. I'm like, I want to hear this. Is it really good? How good is it?
I don't know.
Clearly the technology exists. Like I said, we've seen it. I saw it as early as 2017, 2018. Adobe had premiered it in their Adobe Audition program, that they could take literally sample 5 minutes of a person's speech, and then you type in whatever you want to make them say it. And it sounded pretty darn good in the demo. right? So we know the technology's out there. They never released it. They never put it out. But it's interesting. It's there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is. I'm just.
If you've ever found the iconic voice.
If they play a clip about here on this news show I found on YouTube real quick.
Okay. I want to hear Jimmy Stewart, right? Yeah, why not? Can we go to California for a moment?
I'm going back to Cali.
California. Governor Newsom cancels Christmas tree lighting ceremony over pro-Palestinian protests. He canceled the tree lighting ceremony at the state capitol on Tuesday due to a pro-Palestinian protest. Newsom made the move for fear of safety for children and families that would be present at the ceremony. Last month, for instance, a cadre of pro-Palestinian protesters overwhelmed security at the California Democratic Convention. Pro-Palestinian groups had planned to descend on the tree lighting ceremony in the same way they did the Rockefeller Center ceremony in New York last week. A spokesman for the governor said that Newsom will hold a virtual ceremony and distribute a pre-recorded version on Wednesday. Here's your tree lighting. Here's the video. Go watch it.
Yeah,
not quite the same.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But out of fear of there's that's just shows you the degradation of us. That's and they're seeding that into the conscious too, right? Because they're doing this. Oh, it's not safe. It's not safe. They're leading us down a path where they want to implement more controls over what we can and cannot do. You can't. It's not safe. That these protesters are just crazy and all this stuff. This is some of the seeding of the consciousness that they're doing for shit that's going to happen down the road.
That's right. Yep. And the other piece too is they probably don't have any police because so many have resigned, so many have left. Right? They've defunded the police, and what do they have left? They got nothing. The skeleton crew. So who knows?
Yeah, there was over like 2,500 recently in New York. They're freaking out.
Yeah.
They don't how they're going to do that. Yeah.
Bruce, I appreciate you stepping in today. I didn't expect you to be here. Glad you came by. That's fantastic. And we'll be back with you on Friday. We'll do our Unraveling the News show, which is always a lot of fun. It's probably my favorite show of the week. I always have fun with that because we joke around a lot. We have a lot of fun. And as Denise is saying in the chat room, it's like, you guys need to do a comedy show, a comedy routine. It's like, well, we don't really have to because we get all the content from that we need from Biden anyway, right?
All you got to do is play their clips.
Play their clips.
Reality is a comedy show right now.
Exactly. All right. We ran long today.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in to let people know I'm still alive. I made it home. I'm good.
You look good. You look really good. Really good, healthy.
Thanks.
And we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. And make sure that you're following the channel. You stay part of our little family here. Thank you for everyone who played in the chat room today. We appreciate that as well. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Take care, everyone.